Alright guys, welcome back to the Metric Bobber build, where we took this bone stock 1980 Honda CB650 and converted it into a full-on custom hardtail. If you're new here, just to bring up to speed, the bike's fully built in raw form. We did have some electrical problems. We're waiting on the regulator rectifier, but I don't want to keep losing time in this build. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tear the bike down completely, get it ready for powder coating, and we're going to time it and see how long it takes me. If you're on Patreon, you already know, whoever guessed the closest to how long it takes me is going to win a brand new Speed and Strength helmet. Some things to know before you start tearing a bike down. You don't want to just start tearing into it and have parts everywhere and not really remember what goes where when you get done. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've marked all the electrical, so I know where that goes when I'm done, both at the rear of the bike and up front where the coils are. Another thing you want to do is you don't want nuts and bolts everywhere. Try to put every nut and bolt back where you can, where it came from, but if you can't, what I do here is I take Ziploc bags, I put some tape on there, and I write on there where that nut and bolt goes. Don't write directly on the baggies because that'll rub off. Another thing that's going to make this go a lot easier is I've taken all my essential tools and I've laid them out on a rolling table. Basically just a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips, all my metric wrenches, pliers, wire cutters, all my Allen wrenches, and of course my ratchet and all my sockets. And then what I can do is I can just kind of roll the table around from side to side, and I have all my tools right there. I'm not going back and forth to my toolbox. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check the time, and then we're gonna tear into this. What I'll have to do is I'll have to stop at some point because I'll have to have my buddy come over, help me pull the engine out. I can't do that by myself. This thing weighs a ton. So let's get started. All right, we are done. We got the frame totally stripped down, ready for powder coating. Now, before I started this part of the project, on my Patreon page, I offered a free helmet giveaway to any of my Patreons who could guess the closest amount of time that it was going to take me to get this done. So there are actually 2 patrons that guessed the same time, 3 hours, 15 minutes. That's Matt Forchi and Christopher Lazier. The amount of time it took me to tear this thing completely down the way you see it now is 3 hours, 22 minutes. So those guys were only off by 7 minutes. Since I only have 1 helmet to give away, what I said I would do is I'd put both names in a hat, a helmet in this case, and pull one of the names, and that person's going to win the helmet. So let's do that right now. Got myself one of the older Speed and Strength helmets. Drop them both in here. Look at that. Shake them up. I hate doing this, man. I wish I could give a helmet to both of you guys, but I can't. Matt Forchi, you're the winner of the new Speed and Strength helmet. So let me explain real quick what's going to happen next. I'm going to take the frame into the fab shop. There's some welding left to be done. Just get it cleaned up, do some grinding, get it prepped for paint. It's not quite ready yet. You know, when you're building a bike and it's on its wheels, you can't weld underneath it and this and that. So now I'll be able to turn the frame upside down, get in there and get those welds done. There's going to be some panels added in here to cover up the electrical wiring. I need to fabricate those. I need to work on the sissy bar and some other, like the back fender. And I think I'm going to document that stuff for you guys too. I mean, it is part of the build process. Let me show you real quick all the parts that are going in for powder coating. Keep in mind, they're not all going to be the same color, but this is everything that's going in. Also, if you're noticing my new sweatshirt, pretty cool, right? This is pretty new. And I haven't really promoted it at all, but it's got my logo on the front and on the back. I hope you can see that. Pretty powerful message for a lot of people on the streets. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of riding around and I'm seeing all these people on their phones jeopardizing the lives of others on the streets, especially us, because we're really vulnerable. If you want to make a point, let's start a movement, man. Let's all start rocking these things and tell these people how we really feel. And to get one, just check the link in the video. You might even be able to see my t-shirt store underneath this video on like a desktop computer. So yeah, check that out and grab yours today. So here's an inventory of everything that's going in for powder coating. You got the back fender, the gas tank, the triple clamps, upper and lower, battery box cover, tachometer bracket, rear tail light bracket. These are the 2 end caps for the electrical tank. Rear brake assembly, rear brake actuator rod, rear brake hub arm, kickstand, rear sprocket, front brake disc, a hub that goes on the other side of the front wheel. Your 4 exhaust flanges, back brake, shifter, front motor mounts. These go on top of the carburetors. The springs for the seat and the sissy bar. And of course the frame. And if you guys remember correctly, I told you at the beginning of this process that it's a good idea to bag all your nuts and bolts and parts. So you can see here I got all these little Ziploc bags all marked correctly. So when I go to put this thing back together, I know where everything goes. All right, everybody, that is a wrap for this video. I want to give a huge thank you to my sponsors that support this series. Tucker.com supplying most of the parts for this build, and Speed and Strength's giving away a full set of head-to-toe riding gear for whoever wins this bike. So before I can send the stuff off the powder coat, I need to quickly get in the shop. Probably going to be right after Thanksgiving, and get this stuff all wrapped up so I can get it off the powder coat real quick, get this bike built, get it given away, and get to the next build. See you guys next time.